Hi guys! In this lesson we'll model the glass facade using RailClone from scratch. Here is a glass block we'll be using. You can see it's refractive and it has some dirt on it, which adds photorealism. I will cover this material in the next lesson. Let me add a slice modifier to show you how it's modeled. You can see that it's empty inside. This way it's more refractive. And this is how it's looking with the light behind it. Now, I will quickly show you how to model it. Firstly, create a box and match the dimensions. Then, duplicate the box and make it smaller to match the dimensions inside. We have to flip the polygons inside, so they are modeling the correct way. Lastly, we just have to chamfer the edges and add connections so the smoothing is correct. To add connections, select the edge, click Alt+R to use the ring selection and add two connections. Then, auto-smooth the entire object. I will copy and paste the UVW map modifier. It's a simple box UVW, which is rotated a bit. Great, we achieved the same result. Now, let me show you another object. I have prepared brick holders as well. Let me quickly show you how I modeled them. I have started with the box and deleted the front and the back polygon. Then, select the borders and scale them up, holding the Shift. Finally, add some chamfers. Using the RailClone, we'll distribute them this way. I also prepared smaller size object to fill the gaps. Let's start with a simple spline and then create a RailClone object. Open the style editor. We'll use Array 2S because we need 2 dimensions. Now add a spline object. Connect it to a spline X node and pick the line you have created before. Next, add a segment. Connect it to the default node and pick the brick holder. We have to add the Y size in order to see the result. For now, let's put 2.5 meters. And a 90 degrees X rotation to make the facade vertical. Now we have to correct the orientation of our object. Select it, go to the transform panel and rotate it by 90 degrees. I always try different axes until I find a correct one. In this case, we need to rotate it in the Y axis. Actually, we need to go minus 90 degrees to have the front and back positioned correctly. Now we will make the bricks running bond type. To do so, add another segment, connect it to start node and pick the smaller object. Rotate it by minus 90 degrees as well. We need the smaller object only on every other row. To achieve this, we have to add a sequence operator. Now plug in both of the objects to this operator and connect it to the start node. To make this work, we need to change incremented to Y because we want models to change on the vertical axis. Now it looks great. We can connect standard objects back to the default slot. I will copy and paste the sequence operator and use it for the end slot. Let's add another segment and pick the corner object. Now, we have to position it correctly. Let's start by rotating it by 90 degrees in the y-axis. Also, minus 90 degrees is correct in this case. Let's go back to the General tab and change the Z alignment to top. We have to change it in the other segments as well. This way, the objects will be nicely aligned with this plane. Let's change some general settings now. Select the generator and go to the Rules tab. I will change the mode to Adaptive. This way, the spacing will be correct no matter what the length of the spline is. Now, we have to create the second object for the end sequence operator. I will use the mirror operator for this. It's not enough though, we have to rotate it as well. To do so, add the transform operator and rotate it to get the correct result. In this case, it's 90 degrees in the x-axis. Awesome! You can see it is working well, no matter what the size of the spline is. Now I will show you how to have the last row nice and not cut it. We can type the size manually, or we can calculate it based on our objects. Right-click on the generator and choose Export Parameters. Select Y size. This way, we can plug the number directly to this slot. Similarly, right-click on our object, but this time Export Attributes, choose Size and Y. This way, we'll have the vertical dimension of our object. Now, we can add a numeric value which will represent the number of rows we need. If we multiply it by the Y size of our object, we'll get the vertical size of the whole facade. Add the numeric parameter and rename it. Make sure you use integers. Now add the arithmetic operator, change the type to multiply and connect the integer and the Y size of our object. Plug it to the Y size of the generator. We can edit the integer in the Modify panel. Cool, isn't it? Now we'll create another part. Let's create a spline. I will copy and paste the first generator and modify it a bit. I will unplug some nodes. Keep just the default segment and the Y size for now. We have to create a null object for the start, so the objects are not overlapping. Export parameters from the first object plugged to the start. Choose size X and Y. Then, add a new segment and export attributes. Also, choose size X and Y. Now connect the nodes and plug the segment to the start node. Add the spline object and choose the second line. This time, we also have to add a sequence operator. Export parameters from the transfer node, which represent the second corner object. Create a new null segment and plug the sizes. Connect the segments to the sequence operator and plug it to the start slot. Change the increment at option to Y as we did before. We just need to change the order. Lastly, let's plug the end sequence to the second generator as well. Works great! Let's copy it one more time and create the last site. This time, we just have to replace the end slot to the start slot from the first generator. Here it is. Here, you can change the display type. Choose boxes or point cloud if it's too heavy in your scene. Now let's add glass brick. I will copy the first generator and unplug the others from the splines for now, so it's easier to work. I will start from scratch except the spline and the Y size. First, add the segments and the sequence for the start slot. We have a problem with spacing. I will show you how to fix this. We have to measure the size between the bricks. The best way is to use a plane or a box. Go to the segment settings and put the size as a padding. Remember to do it in both segments. Perfect. Now add the first segment to the default slot. I will copy the sequence operator and paste it. I will add another segment and pick the corner brick. We have to rotate it to match the model and choose the right alignment. Add the same padding as we did before. I will copy and paste the previous transform operators and use them to create another corner brick. Let's change a couple more things. We can move the bricks out a bit by changing the translation. Do it for the other segments as well. Then, we have to duplicate it and create another two sides. We can choose the same null segments from the brick holder here. And the same for the last side. This time, use the start from the first side as an end. Great! In the next lesson, we'll work on materials. See you there!